generally they come from managers who are fearful for change. They don't know where they're going, and they want to stay in their own comfort zone. So they make a decision that is comfortable, but not the right one for the business. The example, the little story I was going to tell you was I worked with a company in Switzerland, fantastic company. Essentially, they were a marketplace, but they had built their own building. They were very successful, but they had their engineering team on the first floor. They had their user experience team on the second floor. They had the product management team on the third floor, and they had the businesses on the fourth floor. But they had three verticals, and it's like every time you wanted to talk to someone about your team and what you were trying to achieve, you had to formally organise a meeting. You had to book a meeting room and get everyone onto the same floor to chat. I went in, and the first thing that I did was I restructured them. I moved to where people sat. So when I wanted to speak to someone in the team that was working with me, I literally spun my chair around and I could speak to the entire team. And that in itself made the entire company probably 30% more effective, because the teams working on the same initiatives to make the same amount of growth, focusing on the customer's challenges, were sitting together, and they could actually be much more productive in where they were going. So organizational alignment. Move where people sit, make it easier for them to collaborate, build a team environment, make sure that the blockers that are there, as many as you possibly can, are removed so that people can be effective and move forward. The other part of making that's organizational structure. But when you get into business leaders, executive team making unclear decisions, that's an entirely different equation. That's purely going back to the lack of focus, the lack of objectives. If you're very clear on what your objectives are, to be honest, most decision making is just very, very simplistic. Will what I'm about to do get me closer, get my company closer to the objectives we have? Yes or no? If it's yes, let's do it. If it's no, let's come up with a different idea.